Good morning and welcome. My name is Terry McGuire. I'm Secretary of the MVUUC Board of Trustees. I have a few announcements, and if you need more details or you need to see them written down so you can get the details, you can get the announcements, the community connection via email every Thursday. If you're not on the list, talk to Brenda in the office. She'll be glad to put you on. The first one is, of course, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Zoom, Taco Tuesday. Membership team meeting at 7 p.m. in the founders room. Apparently they don't have their Zoom link person, so they're having to meet in person. August 20th is the next hybrid board meeting. The meeting is at 10:30 in the morning. It's available on Zoom and in person. If you have an announcement or an item of interest you wish to have the board pay attention to, talk to Debbie Skirto. There are new teams meetings scheduled in the near future. I'll read through them really fast. And again, if you need more detail, get them on the email from Community Connections. Justice Team, July 28th and August 25th. Community Team, August 4th and September 15th. And Spiritual Life Team, August 18th and September 8th. That's it for today. Enjoy the service.
And if you're interested in any of those teams, just even interested, no commitments, please come to those meetings. Just adding that, since I'm part of that reorganization. And I am Catherine Rowlee, and we will now enter our official time of worship with sounding of our bowl. I ring it once, honoring yesterday. I ring it to celebrate today. And I ring it once for our future and the future of all. Our opening words are Do Not Leave Your Cares at the Door by Norman Naylor. Do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave there your pain or your sorrows or your joys. Bring them with you into this place of acceptance and forgiveness. Place them on the common altar of life and offer them to the possibility of your worship. Come then and offer yourself to potential transformation by the creative process that flows through you and all. And blessed be. And our chalice lighting words, we are streamlining events today because we want to have a lot of time to engage in our creativity. So this is why things are moving along. It's a little different. So we are going to light our chalice now, and I call on Robert to do the flame part of this, and our chalices. The children are staying with us, if there's children. I don't see all the masses of children today, but all our children that are within us are here with us. So, flame, friend of our most ancient ancestors, we kindle you now to make you visible in this time. Yet in truth, you burn always. In the unique worth of each person, in imagination, in the turning of the heart to sorrow or joy, in the call to hope, and in the call to justice, burn bright before us and burn bright within us. So let us, if we stand in body and spirit, and let us sing Spirit of Life, and then we'll say our covenant together. In our covenant, we affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. And have a seat. And we have a video to tell our story. And if it doesn't work, we also have the book, but we're thinking it's going to work today because the pictures are really important. And so we wanted you to be able to see them. So, fingers crossed. Yay. Pictures were important. So at this time, we will do our offering. And is this when Jill Regel is going to sing for us. So we bring our offerings up or give them to somebody. This month, our designated offerings, our undesignated offerings, are going to the Prison Library Project. So half of everything in our basket will go to the Prison Library Project. And we also collect food and other things for the Beta Center, the local food pantry. So let's enjoy and come forward. So traditionally, when we have an intergenerational service, we don't do joys and sorrows exactly. So that's why if you looked for them, they weren't on the table because I removed them, just because, you know, it could get heavy. So knowing that we all hold concerns, maybe sorrows inside of us. Maybe we have some joys too. I'm sure we do. We don't have a prayer exactly either. So today, let us just take a moment to tune into ourselves and to the things that may give us concern, that which might frighten us or cause us to feel uncertain about our future. And let us take a moment to just appreciate the little things in life that make it possible to continue to live every day in joy. Just the little things. I think for most people, that's what moves us forward every day. It's the beautiful clouds, the sound of the birds, a smile from a friend, some little thing that happened. And let's just take a moment together in silence. That will be our prayer, the silent offering that we have to share with one another, knowing that we are all human, experiencing this earth. We're all together in this safe and loving place. So let's just take a moment of silence. And so, blessed be to us all, from each other and from life. And now I'm really excited to have Robert come and give us some comments on creativity. I don't know how many of you know Robert as an artist, but he's an artist. So we're so excited he's willing to share with us.
So yeah, you may or may not know this about me, but I went to art school. I started over at Chaffey College, and then I went to UC Irvine. Catherine's being very generous by calling me an artist. I did study art, and I love art, but my own artistic skills are not like super developed. I don't have really good fine motor skills, but I do love making stuff. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more just about art in general rather than about like my art. But before I start that, I want to tell you about something that happened a lot in art school. One of my favorite activities would be on the first day of class, the teachers would have us play Two Truths and a Lie, which is a game where, as the name implies, you tell two true things and one lie. My go-to, since most of my classmates didn't know what a Unitarian Universalist was to say that, I would say some mundane lie, like I don't have a driver's license, or I'd never been to a concert, or something that I would make up. And then I would say that I'm both an atheist and basically a Sunday school teacher. Because they didn't know what a UU was, they thought this was impossible, and nobody ever guessed my lie. And I wanted to share that because I would always get questions about how this could be true. And then as people got to know me and would see my art and hear what I would write about my art and how I would talk about my art, they would ask me why I use such spiritual language and why am I so invested in this as a spiritual practice when it's just art. So the thing is, and I'm sure you'll agree with me since we're UUs, spirituality comes in so many different kinds of experiences. And when I think about it, the best of religion is something that helps us connect with others, helps us to revel in the awesome, sublime power of nature, moves us deeply and inspires us to be better people, and helps us to understand our own place in the universe, our own mortality. And I think art does all this as well as any other spiritual practice. There's a painter that I learned about in school named Arshile Gorky. His most famous painting is called The Artist and His Mother, and it is, like the title implies, a painting of himself and his mother. It's based on a photograph, the only photograph he had with her before he moved to America, and sadly she died in the Armenian genocide. he never finished this painting. Every time he would try, he would become so emotionally engaged with it that he would try to hold his mother's hand in the painting. He missed her so much. And if you ever see this painting in person, you can even see the indents where his own fingerprints tried to go through the canvas. He was so lost and enraptured while he was painting, he was transcended into a different place. Most of his art became less representational, more abstract, because he noticed that it wasn't the images, it was the emotions that were important. Another artist that I learned about was named Jackson Pollock, and he dreamed of being a cowboy, and he liked to paint these big landscapes, these giant murals of the land, and most of the painting would be the sky, and people would complain, like, you're supposed to paint the land, and he's like, no, the stars and the clouds are alive. His art also became more abstract, more expressionist, and he's mostly known for doing what he called drip paintings. And many people think that this abstract style was him letting out his emotions and raging and flinging paint everywhere, but it was actually a meditative process. He would mix his paint very thin and lay his canvas on the ground, and he would just drip it slowly and methodically over, and he would lose track of time and track of what he was doing. And the first time he painted like this, he called out to his wife. He's like, come here, come here. And she came to his studio and she looked. He goes, I don't know what it is. Is it art? This question of is it art would rage for several decades to this day. People are unsure. I can count on my hands the number of times that when I was in school and I was working on art, that I would lose track of time. I would be working late at night, and it's been 10 hours and I haven't eaten or, walked around. And this state of losing track of time and being so involved in your artwork is something that people call the flow state. And you may not have heard of that term, but you may have felt the flow state in your own life in different ways. And that's, sorry, I lost track of my, can I get my water? I'm getting super dry mouth. So the flow state is when you would operate without thinking. You're operating on your own intuition and without second guessing yourself, and you're able to make work that's better and smarter than what you normally do. Now, I've read numerous interviews with painters, actors, musicians, photographers, each who talk about their feeling something bigger guiding them through their process and through their practice. You've probably felt it, if not while making art, then while doing something that you love. Sometimes athletes feel it while they're playing a game or practicing or running a race. They sometimes call it being in the zone. It's when they feel more connected to their sport. Other times, rituals and religious traditions help us feel the same way when we're in community. I grew up with parents who were mostly uninterested in religion, but my grandma was Catholic. And I remember the times as a child that she would take us to a Catholic church, and we would hear the repeated prayers over and over again, and we would see people lighting the candles, lighting one by one, and lighting a whole row of candles until it was lit. And these were transcendent experiences for those people. Another way that we do this is play. Children learn through play, and our imagination takes over, and the things that we dream up feel real to us. There's a comic book artist that I like and a writer. Her name's Linda Berry, and she often writes about how storytelling is an extension of play. And I think that imagination is an extension of that play. She writes that when she listens to kids playing, she notices that their world isn't static. It's developing and shifting, and that kids react with deep emotion about the things that they imagine happening. A child in play exists in such a rich imagination that even though they don't always have the words for it, they know that they're connected to something bigger than them and are caught up in trying to understand it all. We have a kid here whose imagination is very strong. Her name's Brooklyn. She's not here today, but she came in one day and she told me for certain that she was starting high school next week. She's 3. And her mother said, yeah, she's been saying that. I don't know where it came from. Kids, their imagination is so fun and so full of life. Today, we're going to be doing a few different workshops. We have a collaborative storytelling exercise that's going to be led by Karen Lane down in room 8. If you need help finding room 8, we can help you, but if you go out this door and you turn left after going through the open gate, you'll see room 8. It's the YRUU room, if you know where that is, and it has air conditioning. So our other classrooms do not currently have air conditioning, so we are, our other workshops are going to be up here. We had planned to put them in the classrooms, but it's too hot. We have bead making, or jewelry making with beads. We have a collage table. We have a table with a drawing exercise based on our story we read earlier, The Big Orange Spot, where you get to draw your own house. We also have Lynn Scheibel is going to be back in the founders room, which also has air conditioning, don't worry. And she's going to be teaching us how to be mimes or clowns. Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be a fascinating exercise. So please, while you're trying something new maybe, or doing something you've done 100 times, think about the flow state and try not to think about what you're doing so much and just trust your intuition. Yeah, the collage table, the bead making, yeah. And back there with Jeannie, you have the collages. You can make anything. Well, you can make something, anything you want. Right. So I can't promise that we'll all go into a flow state today while we're doing this, but I encourage you to get outside of your comfort zone, do something that you've never done before, and don't worry if it's right or wrong. Don't worry if it's good or right or perfect. Just try. Step outside of yourself and stop thinking about what you're doing and let your imagination take control. And feel free to play. And then Zoom, yeah. So our Zoom, do you want to explain what's going to happen for Zoom?
And I don't know, I can only see I can't know how many people are on Zoom. But so if you're at home feeling creative, go and get something out and draw your house or do something creative, and I should say, and anybody in the sanctuary and all the people on Zoom, we're going to have a creative listening experience because Lily is going to play for us while we are having this time. Right, Lily? She's surprised that I asked her to do this, but that's going to be exciting too. So if you're on Zoom, don't go away. Grab something and start doodling and start listening. So it is about 11, it's 11:04, 11:05. We were going to gather back in the sanctuary probably at 11:25, 23, somewhere around there. We will arrange for you to come back. You come back, and we'll take just a few minutes to share our experiences, and then, if you so choose, and then we'll close. So let's go, guys. Let's go have Creativity Sunday. Let me see how many people are on Zoom. Intermission is over. No. So feel free to leave if you're at one of the tables, feel free to leave your stuff there and come back to it after we close service. So, and then we could just continue with our experience. They are not stopping. Wow, how weird, I'm missing my third page. Probably. It has my closing words on it, so I hope you have it. Because I have, no, I have page 1, 2, 3, I have 1, 2, and 4, I'm missing 3. Is there anybody who would like to share their experience? Either come up to the mic. I could put, I think, Jaryus, is the mic that Jill used live?
The pulpit.
So our group was the story creating group, and we followed a format. So we had time to actually write 2 stories in those few minutes. And I'm going to read them to you. Once upon a time, there was a UU congregation. Every day, butterflies would visit. But one day, all the butterflies flew far away. Because of that, we were sad. Because of that, we decided to plant many more flowers. Because of that, many more the butterflies came back. We also had large grasshoppers. Other animals came to eat the grasshoppers, including birds. Finally, we needed a car wash because of all the birds. The moral of the story is, be careful what you wish for. And then the second story was, once upon a time, there was an unnamed mountain peak. The hikers decided they wanted to name this peak. So one day, the mayor of the village at the bottom of the mountain decided to have a mountain naming contest. Because of that, more and more hikers came, including less experienced hikers. Because of that, a wheelchair-accessible trail was created to get to the peak. Because of that, the mountain became the most visited mountain in the state, but it still didn't have a name. So they named it Anonymous Mountain. And the moral of the story is, you can be famous while remaining anonymous.
Anybody else want to share? Come on, Lynn.
Seriously, folks. I'm very happy that some people came back, and this was just kind of a reminder that life is very serious all the time, and sometimes we need to lighten up a little bit. And you can listen. I'm not just any fool, you know, I'm an experienced one. So with that, let me offer that it's okay to express yourself. Everybody has that special person that's inside of you that sometimes you're ashamed and you don't want to really show who you are. But you know what? If it may not make anybody else feel better, it'll make you feel better. And what we had done years ago back in the classrooms with the children was just to teach them, first of all, to not just sit in the back of the room and watch, but to get out and express yourself. And you don't always have to use words. You can use facial expressions, which are sometimes a lot more fun in a crowded setting because you almost don't have to use words. They can just read your expressions. So that's kind of what we did today. Be yourself. Lighten up.
And anybody else? Oh, Reverend Maggie, you want us to come? Okay. That may happen pretty quick. Thank you.
It?
Testing,
Does it
testing.
test? It passes. passes the test.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do my Phil Donahue. Who wants to talk? Jeannie, you want to talk about leading your group? I know you didn't have enough time. That's not part of it. Oh, it was your. Oh.
There was really no
Just some
leaders
very
on those.
interesting things going on. I think this was Jill's at the end. I think that looks like, to me, it looks like a fireworks in reality.
We're going to have a naming contest, and I named it Connection with the Mothership. Go show it to the camera.
And I don't know what happened, where Anne went. Okay, and she has a beautiful construct here. It's just beautiful.
So this is
and
connecting to the
abstract. Look
mothership.
at this. This is just gorgeous. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, it's abstract.
Anybody else? How about some of the watercolor people? Oh, Joe. You went to the mothership. Let me put Anne's. This is weaving. Someone did some weaving over here. Oh, Reverend Allen, do you want to talk about yours? Can I twist your arm?
A walk down to the ocean and a little house there and another little house there. That's it, and the sky, but I never found the blue, so it didn't work. I like watercolor. This is not the best kind of paper for watercolor. That's my excuse.
I think this is great. I'll walk it up for the Zoom, for our folks on Zoom.
No, he may be turning the cameras.
Oh, is he? Okay. Anybody else want to speak? This is Reverend Elliott.
So I have this one from the back table. I don't think the artist wants to talk about it, do you? But this is a wonderful landscape of the mountains, the sky, and the sun. I thought this was really pretty. She didn't, but I think it's awesome, so I wanted to show it off. Yeah, Anonymous Mountain. It was painted by Jerry. She did a great job.
And do you want to come? Do you want me to bring it to you?
No, I don't want to show anything because I'll probably lose all the beads off the string. But I just wanted to say that
Where's the mic?
I've always looked at beading like, oh, I can't do that. It's way too, requires too many fine motor skills and too much imagination to put beads together in a way that they look really pretty. But I actually kind of got into the zone, and which I do sometimes. I am a very beginner knitter. I've made a few things that I'm proud of, which have taken me months and months and months. But you get into the zone with knitting too. You just get that rhythm and then see the items start to grow. But what I found was interesting is that we were chatting, and it reminded me of being in a car and being able to talk to somebody next to you without having to like just sit across the table. It was easy to be doing something and chat and be able to talk about some things. And that's another thing of doing it in a group. I don't know whether I would like the leading as much if I were doing it myself, but it was very relaxing to do it around the table and to just have a few easy words, because, yeah, I'd glance up and look at whoever I was talking to, but then I could take my face away and get back to the beads. And that was a nice experience. Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, I want to lift up all the people who were quiet, who took a chance, and the people who told me they weren't artistic, and then were, because it's unfortunately in our educational system sometimes that nature, that inborn creativity can get squashed a little, because we all have it, every one of us. And just thank you, everybody. It was so wonderful. So we have I'm going to change something on my order of service. I'm going to say the closing words, and then we're going to sing our closing song, and because then we could just stand for that, and then stand for our chalice extinguishing words, which is our regular words. So our closing words. May we open ourselves even more fully to that eternal mystery which lures us onward towards life and creativity. May we find the courage to live our faith, to speak our truth, and to strive together for a world where freedom abounds and justice truly does roll down like water. May we know the fullness of love without fear and the serenity of peace without turmoil. May we hold one another in the deep and tender places with compassion, and may we grace one another by sharing our own vulnerabilities, being ever mindful of the divinity that makes soulmates of us all. And our closing song is This Little Light of Mine. I think we're going to sing it. Jaryus should have the words. I have made a verse and we X'd it, but we're going to sing it how we're going to sing This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine, and all around the world, or something like that. And then we're going to sing the first verse again. I think, we could sing it without the slide if it doesn't come up. 3 all together. Chalice, extinguishing our chalice. Those words should come. Okay. As we close our time together and extinguish our chalice flame, may we invite its light to shine through us, to strengthen us for the way ahead, and to allow our lives to serve as light in this world that we care so much about.